In conversation with Jake Lynch. Jake Lynch is an author specializing in contemporary religious fiction and action-adventure novels. Having grown up under the teaching of Rick Warren, has a strong devotion to God and actively seeks to love others. While writing stories is entertaining, his main mission is to help spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and to bring hope and healing into the world. When he's not writing, he's usually surfing, doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and watching anime. And on today's episode of Auto Interview, Multiple Player join excitement to have on the show today, Jake Lynch. How are you doing, Jake?
I'm doing very good, Peter. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm quite excited really to have you on the show today. Quite exciting to have you come on to talk about your amazing literature work. And I need to mention that you have such a beautiful bio.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's always weird when you're trying to write a bio about yourself. Like, how do I describe myself? And it feels weird because I feel like I'm praising myself a little bit, and I
Hmm.
don't really want to do that, but I have to. It's weird.
Oh, really? That's quite fun, really. I think it's a different experience for different authors and different writers. Some feel like
Really?
I need to pour out all of my accomplishment in my bio. Some feel like I just have to make
Oh,
it a bit casual. Some feel like, oh yeah, let's just do whatever comes to mind.
hmm.
It's a fun ride for an author, sorting out
Oh,
exactly what the bio should look like.
oh, wow. I guess it is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
different experience for
Sometimes I love
everyone.
to add that I'm an amateur violinist. I'm a farmer. The last time someone read I was a farmer, I was like, oh, I was once a farmer because the farm didn't work out eventually. But I love to call it that way. Anyway, let's go to our business here today. Yeah, thank you so much, Jake. This is quite a fun introduction into an amazing interview.
It's
And I'd
great.
love to ask you, could you tell us about your book, Broken to Beautiful, which I kind of find the description page of it on Amazon to be quite lovely, wholesome, hopeful, encouraging, and quite powerful. I'd love to ask you, how does this book come about? What inspired you to write Broken to Beautiful?
It's kind of a unique story for what inspired me originally to write this book. So here I have my book, Broken to Beautiful. And I was in college, I was at the university at the time, and I encountered a janitor on a train one day. And I spoke with this man, and he just, for some reason, had this like very kind impression that he left on me because he was very kind and easy to talk to, and he just left me feeling very joyful and happy. And so later that year, I finished my semester at the university, and around that time, I got this impression to write a book revolve like about a janitor a little bit, or just to include a janitor in the story. And the impression did not go away. It stayed around for a couple weeks. And that was very odd for me because I was not a big reader growing up, and writing was actually one of my least favorite subjects in school.
Mm.
So like doing the English literature classes was not fun for me at all. So the idea of writing a book was so far out of my plan that I had no idea. I did not plan on doing that at all in my life. And so as a Christian, when I got this impression, I decided I need to pray about this and ask
Mm.
God if this is a legit thing or not. And
Yeah.
so I take a quiet time. So I get alone by myself and I sit and I pray for 5, 10 minutes in silence. And I ask God, God, do you want me to write a book that includes a janitor in it?
Mm.
And I take my Bible and I flip open to the book I was reading in, and I was reading the book of Isaiah at the time that I got the impression to write the book. And that was actually interesting because I was reading in the New Testament. So, like, I was reading somewhere far off in the Bible. And I actually received another impression to read the book of Isaiah a couple months prior to
Wow.
receiving the impression about the book.
Wow.
And so I just started reading the book of Isaiah, which is in the Old Testament. So start reading Isaiah, and then time goes on, and I get the impression to write the book. And
Mm,
so I pray to God, do you want me to write a book? And then I flip open my Bible to where I was reading in Isaiah, and the
mm,
first thing that I read was Isaiah chapter 30, verse 8, which says, write these words down, write it in a book.
mm.
And I just go, okay, you can't get any more direct than that. So after that, I started writing and I did not stop. And that was about 6 years ago. And
Wow.
here we are with a published novel.
Wow, that's quite amazing. Lovely ride into literature, into writing. And I love your touch of with the Christian faith here, blend of it, the prayer aspect. Quite lovely, really. I love the fact that you included all of that in your journey to becoming an author. Very, very impressive and very important as well. Thanks for mentioning.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
have done it if I didn't have that, like motivation behind me because I didn't write this book for myself. I didn't write it because I had a creative need. I wrote the book because I was called to write it.
Mm.
So that's why
Wow.
I did it.
I love that way because you were called to write it. Very important. And that speaks volume, really. Thank you for sharing. And now, just in case of readers
Yeah.
who haven't read the book yet, and without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what we'd expect in terms of themes picking up, broken to beautiful? And if you have a copy of the book there, I'd love you to show it to the camera, just so it's what it looks like.
Yeah. I know I showed that a little earlier. Like this is what it looks like.
Wow.
Sorry about the lighting a little bit.
I love the
So yeah,
butterfly in
broken
it there.
beautiful. Yeah, I love the butterfly in the front cover. It turned out so great when I did that. And it's symbolic too to the story. So
Oh.
yeah, butterflies are symbols of transformation. And so that's what the journey of the book is all about. It's a story of transformation for the main character and other characters as well. So like it's a book that relates a lot to teenagers and anyone who struggles with loneliness in
Oh,
life.
wow.
And like we've all felt loneliness, we've all felt like rejected from society or from those around us. And it's hard to feel valued. It's hard to feel good or good about yourself when no one looks at you or no one cares about you. And so the story
Mm,
follows a young girl in high school who struggles with mental health, such as depression and even possibly suicidal thoughts and loneliness, and how
mm,
she goes through this great journey of transformation, going from broken to beautiful, hence the name of
mm.
the title.
Oh, wow.
And it's just a beautiful story as she connects with other people and finds hope in life
Mm.
and loves on others. And so it's like it can be a little bit of a dark story at first, but it's truly a beautiful story to read and to find hope amidst a world that can feel so dark at times.
That's actually amazing because now I could deduct where the title metamorphs from. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's quite beautiful, really. Yeah, that's a lovely description you've got there. Thank you for sharing.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And that
Thank
one will
you.
make me to go to my next question, which is a fact that I've always been fascinated, taken aback, surprised by how authors, especially novelists like yourself, craft long sentences and bring words together in a way that, sentences make paragraph, paragraph make pages, pages make chapters, and everything come together, aligning beautifully to make a great novel like you've just showed to the camera. And this always leave me thinking, how exactly did they got the ideas and inspiration to get all of this works together? Where are all this is coming from? It's amazing. It's a whole lot of creativity to sit down and
Mhm.
craft those words, place them side by side in a way that they keep transitioning beautifully without any mix up or without any. I mean, it's awesome. I'm lost of description, yeah. And this always leave me thinking, how exactly did they got the ideas and inspiration to write this words together? And now as far as writing is concerned, and as far as all of the books you've written so far is concerned on, how do you get your inspirations and ideas? Where do they come from?
My inspiration comes from multiple places. There isn't one sole source where I get my inspiration. I get it from the type of message that I want to tell through this story.
Mm.
And for example, with the characters that are within my book,
Yeah.
um, a lot of the inspiration that I get from my characters, I base them off of real problems in life.
Oh.
So I'll use, for example, one character will struggle with identity, and I'll use
Mm.
that as the core of the character, and then build on that to be like, okay, what does this character struggles with identity? What's a person who struggles with identity? Oh, like maybe an actor or someone, and I can build off of that. That's one way. There are other ways I get inspiration. I do use parts of my own life like
Oh.
personal experiences that I have taken in life of at times when I've felt lonely or have had trouble fitting in. I'll use that. And anything that I see around me, like just see like gaining new experiences as an author always helps. Like the more you know, the better you write.
Yeah.
And so I'll use just anything around me and just any inspiration that I can find. So, yeah, those are typically where I get my inspiration. There's not one source, but it's from many different places, and it's great.
Well, thank you so much. That's such an amazing one you mentioned. And I love the fact that you're so, swift in sharing how your inspiration come to be. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, I love enjoy you talking about it, yeah, and it's lovely to know where they come from. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
it's
Yeah.
great sharing this stuff. So I'm glad you're asking about it.
Yeah. Now, apart from Broken to Beautiful, do you have any other works you've authored or say currently working on?
Yes. So right now I have another book being worked on right now. The title of that book is called Chronicles of the Lost Saint, Book One, main title, The Lost Saint. And
Oh.
that's a very different genre compared to this book, uh,
Oh.
because that next novel is more about action and adventure compared to this contemporary slice of life story. So the premise of the second novel, The Lost Saint, is about a post-nuclear war that happened. And so most of the governments and societies of the world have collapsed and new societies and cultures have arisen after the
Mm.
fallout. And it follows this one soldier who has lost everything and has to find his purpose in life again now that all the wars are over, and he has to redefine himself and find like why he must continue living after losing everything.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah. I like
Wow.
to I like to combine action and deep emotion as well, like character
Mm.
development with great fight scenes as well. So this is the start of a series that I'm working on, and I'm very
Wow.
excited to bring it out to the world. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Wow. That's quite amazing, really. That sounds great. That sounds like you've got a lot ongoing, and I hope you find some times to sleep.
Who sleeps? Who sleeps?
Yeah, I hope
I
you
don't need
find some
sleep.
time to sleep, really, because just writing can be very demanding, really, and time consuming.
Yes. Yes.
Hopefully.
We make it work.
Thank you so much for your amazing, lovely answers to this question so far. I really do enjoy you talking about it. Thank you. Thank you. Now, could
I'm
you
glad you
tell
asked.
us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Are there any challenges you've encountered in the process of writing this book and also ever since it got published?
Yes. So I went down the route of self-publishing my novels.
Mm,
And one thing that I've learned about self-publishing is that it is a lot of work when it comes to marketing your book. It's one thing to create your book and to publish it. It's another thing to market it. And so one of the biggest problems that I am encountering right now is just getting the word out and telling people about it, just marketing the novel so that people can see it and find it in places. So
Mm.
I've been trying to be active on social media and post about it and try to reach out to other authors and even contact bookstores to try and get my book out to
Yeah,
them. And it's a
absolutely.
lot of work. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work just to write a novel. It's a lot of work to market it as well. So that's one of the biggest challenges that I'm currently dealing with. And I'm still new to this industry.
Mm.
It's only been like 9, 10 months since I first published
Wow.
this novel. So I'm still learning a lot of how the game works. And so, but at the same time, like there's pros and cons to self-publishing versus traditionally publishing. And I wanted to keep the rights to my books. So that's why I'm pursuing the self-publishing route. But it's still good though. I'm glad that I went down the self-publishing route, and I'm glad that when people read it and leave me reviews on my book and tell me what they think about it. So
Interesting.
uh it's a lot of work, but I'm in this for the long term and I'm excited for how everything's going to turn out.
Wow, that's quite amazing, really. That's quite very amazing. I love your take on this. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And now, is there anything that you'd love to show the viewers about your book that we did not mention in this interview, and you'd love the viewers to know? Is there anything?
The book is kind of controversial a little bit. Well, not controversial. The book, like I have a forewarning in the
Oh,
first page of the book
okay.
that warns readers like this book is not for everyone.
Yeah.
And this book will bring out the dark memories of your life and bring them to light and make you think about them.
Mm.
So the book is a fictional novel, but it also has quotes and almost challenges within to make the reader think a little bit more about their current lifestyle and where they're going and what their purpose in life is. And so it's a fictional story meant to tell a real message through
Mm.
the life of a character. And so if you're someone who's struggling with hopelessness
Mm.
and sadness, or if you're looking for something more in life, then you should read this book just to
Uh,
find a relatable character to that and see how they find hope and find encouragement in through Jesus Christ. So
mm.
it's a religious story, but it's very
Uh,
relatable to people who have gone through this dark topic, which is one of the factors that helped me write this story because I had gone through these difficult times myself, and it allows me to relate to the people who read this story and to tell them that you may be going through a dark time now, but it will not last forever. And there
mm.
is a reason to keep breathing. So it's kind of interesting how I can use the pain in my life to help others. And that's the beautiful part about it.
Mm. Wow. This is quite amazing, really. This is very wholesome and quite lovely. And I enjoy you talking about this and particularly talking about the fact that it's gonna give hope to people and helping to share the message about Jesus Christ. And I've read so many books in this genre, but I'm particularly looking
Sure
forward
you
to seeing
have.
how justice is gonna metamorphose and come into place. Yeah, that's quite beautiful to know. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
asking. That was great.
Yeah, yeah. And as a published author, I'd love to get your idea on this and advice rather. As a published
Okay.
author, what sort of advice do you offer other writers who are still struggling with writing a book in your particular genre? What should you advise people in this category?
My advice to authors still struggling to write their book would be never edit the story while you are writing it
Oh, wow.
because
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Peter. Never edit it while you are writing it because then you'll just get caught in an editing loop and you'll never create the story.
Mm,
So it may be hard, but you need to write the story down and then edit it later because it's better to write an imperfect story than to never publish a perfect story.
mm,
And then for some authors or writers who are struggling with trying to figure out what their story is about,
yeah.
or if if you base your story off of how you feel, that's not a good idea
Mm,
because your feelings are wish-washy. They change constantly. So sometimes you have to draw the line in the sand and say, no, this is what the story is, regardless of how I feel about it,
mm,
and then create the story from there. So that's if you're basing your story off how you feel. That's just one of the tips that I learned over the years, and it took me a long time to realize that. But every author has to find their way of how they create their story.
yeah.
And it's different for everyone, but those are some of the tips that I learned along the way.
Mm. Wow, that's quite great, really. Thank you so much for an amazing advice. And I'm hoping that viewers, including myself, would love to utilize it. Yeah. I wanted to ask, would you like to read a short section of your book to the audience? It could be your favorite line, a favorite paragraph, or even if it's a favorite page. That'll be fun
Sure.
if you would like to.
Prologue a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. The dream. Life without purpose is unbearable by Crystal Henninger. Wind flapping through her hair. The cold rooftop concrete beneath her feet swam with activity. Her shoes were dirty, her dress fluttering in the wind as she stared toward the city before her. The night sky and lights made the city look like the circulatory system of a living organism as the lights pulsed and flickered. The streets of cars calmed and stopped before running on again. She stood there, her body trembling. The wind blew her hair wildly as she stared out, feeling empty and broken, having nothing to live for. Tears streaked down her face in strong twin rivers as she tried to keep it in. She tried to hold back the scream for as long as she possibly could, but the emotion in her heart kept building and building. There was no sound as she stood on the rooftop alone and
Wow.
screamed.
Wow. That is very, very, that's so calm. That is cooling. That's a bit emotional. Very
Mm-hmm.
amazing as well, yeah. And I love your recitation of the soft section of your book. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
It's
so
funny.
much.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I love it wholeheartedly. And just in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview, I would love to get a copy of the book. On what platform is it available on for purchase?
yes. So you can find the book on Amazon, depending on what country you're in also, but
Yeah.
it's generally available on Amazon. It's also available on Audible as an audiobook. You can also find the book on Barnes and Noble, on their website. I'm still trying to get it into their bookstores physically, but it is on their online website. And
Oh,
then you can also go to my website, www.authorjakelynch.com, where you'll find the links to my book there.
oh, that's great. That's amazing. And I left a link in the description part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Jake Lynch books directly on Amazon, on Barnes& and Nobles, on his website, and also another platform. I also left link to social pages for possible followings. So thank you so much, Jake, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome, and I must say it's more than awesome actually. Having this conversation with you and having you on the show, I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much, Peter. I'm super glad that you invited me out here and were willing to ask me questions about the book. So thank you, man.
Yeah, it's my pleasure as well. Thanks for coming on.